It's night and day. Can I do that?
That's it. My way's clear.
Servant is dead. Now, the master.
But first, shock coils.
But first, I need wire, like in the worst way.
You guys dismantle everything you have and give me wire.
Sorry, humanity's burning and all, but we need wire.
Does this guy have anything? Nope. Man.
They're all holding out on us for wire for the first time ever.
How? Like, literally all of these things are made with just wire.
Yeah, we had so much before we were throwing it away.
Yeah.
And at the very end of the game, we run out of wire. Where is the Deathbringer?
It's back to your right. Like, all the way back right, I guess.
There's a wire. A single wire. There he is.
Perfect.
Hey, Deathbringer.
This better have, like, infinite wire.
Well, I mean, look at it. He really does.
Oh my god.
38 damage.
42 damage.
Wow.
Billion wire. Nope, nothing.
If the game wasn't over, that would have been some awesome drops.
Yeah. Now we can use this wire to... I mean, that 42 damage to kill boars in one shot.
I like how the timer just keeps going.
System threat imminent.
I'm more than a threat.
Hello. Consider yourself purged, buddy.
I don't think we needed a high-tech device if that was our strategy.
Yeah. Just stab it in the face.
Stab it with a stick.
Is she in the universe?
Okay. Well, that was a learning experience.
Yeah.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hey, friend. Mom.
Master Override armed. To activate state name and rank.
Elizabeth Sobek. Alpha Prime.
Master Override activated. Purging Extinction Protocol.
It's gonna explode.
Yeah. It just nukes the entire world. Poke it with a stick.
So I think we have to get Gaia on creating the deactivation, or cracking the...
The alpha? Or for Apollo or whatever?
No. Whichever one did the thing that did the system shutdown on all of the machines the first time.
Oh,
because
yeah.
realistically, that wasn't Hades.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe, no, it was this one. It was Minerva.
Minerva. Right.
So Minerva was the one that shut down,
That did
sent
the-
all the shutdown codes.
Yeah, the decryption codes.
Yeah. So I guess Hades activated them but didn't re-encrypt them. Because
Right.
that's the process that takes 100 years to decrypt.
Right, yeah.
Because these guys could be facing, they're going to be extinct again.
Right, yeah, regardless. It's all for nothing.
Okay, Gaia. Sorry about that. Where was I?
You were telling a story.
Right. Yeah, so, like I was saying, it was a children's electronics kit, but I hacked the wiring to an auto battery and solar PV. So the grass caught fire. And so did a tall pine that had stood there, I don't know, maybe 100 years.
Query. You were how old?
6. My mother was home, thank God, so she called the fire department, and after, she took me out to the lawn and showed me the dead baby birds, because there were nests in the pine tree.
Query. What did you feel?
I'm not sure. I remember yelling that I didn't care, and that's when my mother took my face in her hands and spoke.
Query. What did she say?
She said I had to care. She said, Elizabeth, being smart will count for nothing if you don't make the world better. You have to use your smarts to count for something. To serve life, not death.
You often tell stories of your mother, but you are childless.
I never had time. Guess it was for the best.
If you had had a child, Elizabeth, what would you have wished for him or her?
I guess I would have wanted her to be curious. And willful, unstoppable even. But with enough compassion to heal the world. Just a little bit. Anyway, that's all I've got for now, Gaia. Time to tuck in.
I wish you a pleasant sleep, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Getting the cauldrons up and running
Yep.
to recreate Gaia.
Oh man, that was a heck of a trip.
Yeah, that last battle was pretty intense.
Oh man, that was insane.
It took a couple tries. I was playing, not Travis, so he doesn't get any of the blame for that. But man, wow.
Oh man,
It took a few tries.
I'm sure it would have taken me a few tries also.
Yeah,
Like those people were insane.
you're better than me, but I don't think you were gonna one-shot that.
Oh yeah.
Because you have to learn how the flow of the battle goes with the extra machines showing up and when,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
what the commands Hades are giving means, and when it means they're attacking, focusing on just Aloy and not, and the best route around the area, picking up supplies and all that.
Yeah.
And then of course we found out at the very end that we ran out of wire for the first time in the entire game.
So yeah, the resources was never a problem, like ever in the entire game.
Other
Like,
than having too many of them.
Right, exactly. Like we had to throw away everything. But as soon as the final battle starts and like we're so close to the end, it's like, oh, no more arrows for you.
So yeah, we actually didn't have enough to finish it off with our super crazy sniper bow and had to go back to the old standard, the original bow, in order to put in the killing blow. But we got there.
It comes full circle back to the beginning with the worst arrow we have, but just it made it work in the end, so that's all that matters.
So yeah, enough about trials and tribulations and running out of wire.
Yeah.
Like, this game was pretty fun.
It looks insane, look great, fantastic. It's really creative too. Like I like the concept of like ancient tribes, but with an insane amount of technology, just happening around it.
Yeah, and the environments looked amazing.
Yeah.
Basically, everything in the Outworld environment looked very realistic. Some of the best graphics I've ever seen. I mean, definitely the best on the PS4 as far as environments. Some of the character models, not the absolute best of all time, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
And the inner stuff too, like with the cauldrons, that stuff also looked amazing. All the environments just were very well done.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I definitely say like when we went into the cauldrons, like everything looks so like how you would imagine it to look, and it was just perfectly done. And I like the battle system in the game also. You having to learn different machines do different things, and how you can kind of interact with them, and you can kill certain parts of them to make the fight easier. So I like how dynamic the playstyle is.
Yeah, they really let you do a lot with all the different types of bows that you had and slings and different weapons, so you could alter your playstyle, or you could do stealth in some areas and just go all out open warfare in other areas.
Right, yeah.
That was an interesting approach. I've heard the game is supposed to be the first in a series or something like that. Like it's a strong IP, so they want to keep going with future installments, but so far, I mean, they'd have to reach a little in order to make a sequel. Or maybe we'll see something after these credits here where there's some sort of glitch with Gaia, or Hades isn't completely gone, but so far it seems like there was a problem and it's been solved.
Right, yeah, it seems pretty well encapsulated all by this one game. Like, the story kind of doesn't leave you place. I mean, we never found out what happened to Ted and whatnot, but I don't know how much more damage he can wreak now, but I guess we'll see if they do ever get Gaia up and running and there is a problem. Maybe we'll see that in the sequel. Who knows?
Yeah, I just hope if they do move forward with a sequel that it isn't too contrived, whatever plot they come up with,
right?
So that it doesn't feel super forced and like they were just trying to cash in and make more money as fast as possible, as opposed to tell a good story that was natural and flowed well out of where this game left off. Because the Ted thing already, I mean, the environments were great, but some of the story was a little weak.
Right, yeah.
Part of the story was really well done. I like the completely hopeless scenario. There's a 0-win success rate, so they came up with the best possible solution.
Right.
But yeah, the Ted thing seemed pretty lame, where for some reason he's allowed to basically be on Noah's Ark and survive after he was the one responsible for taking out civilization. At least that's how they presented it. So it just seems a little hokey that he gets to hang out and be not under house arrest, even if they do let him. Okay, he's funding the Ark, so let him on board, but you know, why isn't he confined? Why is there no security? Why does he have access? He can reprogram the system. They went a little bit back and forth between making him incompetent and making him a deadly threat.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I created Omega level security and now you're all dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, it obviously, they framed it as he basically doesn't know what he's doing in terms of actually building things and stuff like that. He is just he has an idea and then he just funds it, and scientists do all the work. So I don't know how, in this case, he's just bypassed all forms of security that, I mean, Gaia has in place. So it's not like Gaia's just gonna let him go through it. He's obviously gonna have to know what he's doing. And so he's figured out all these things and then breaches security, kills everyone, and then clears out Apollo and basically wipes out all signs of humanity moving forward. So
yeah, the only way that would sort of make sense is if it was still Pharaoh coding, since he was the owner of Pharaoh Industries.
Right.
Okay, so maybe there's a back door in all of the security for all of his buildings and all of his equipment, everything that he owns, except of course for the robots that wiped out the world. Except for that, he has this Omega code that he can override everything with at any given time. But
I don't know,
why would they have built Gaia with Pharaoh anything other than the money? It should have been 100% all new coding from the ground up. They wouldn't have let Ted or anything Pharaoh near any of that stuff.
Throw his name on that. If someone ever finds this in the future, like Pharaoh Industries saved the world. No. Pharaoh Industries was the only reason the world is dead now.
Right, and that's what he was trying to do with the school, the Apollo, everything had the Pharaoh label on it. But there's a difference between putting your stamp on something and going inside and having all of the code developed by Pharaoh personnel who are still installing Ted Pharaoh's complete authority, overriding everything. No way! For the Gaia program you're gonna do that? That's like putting Hitler in charge of the Save the Jewish People campaign. No, you're not gonna do that. And if they didn't do it, Ted was not presented as the character who could do that on his own. And after the fact, hack into all of their stuff. The council was like, oh, Ted's asking questions again about things he doesn't even understand. Like, he was presented as a moron.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the only reason for him to put his name on everything is for it to seem like Pharaoh Industries was a great, like the savior of the earth kind of thing.
Right.
But I guess he doesn't want them to learn, or the future humans to learn, that Pharaoh Industries was also the whole reason for the mass extinction, so he just clears out all form of information, which makes no sense, like, in the sense he has everything built in Apollo, and with Pharaoh everywhere, and then seals the door forever and wipes out all information.
It wipes out all of Apollo.
And
right?
wipes out all of Apollo. So he's just invested like billions and billions, possibly trillions of dollars, and then he's like, you know what? No, I'm good. And then shuts the door forever and everything is lost.
Right.
So
yeah, deleting the thing that was the thing that would save your name.
Right. Yeah.
Have a lapse in judgment. And it seemed like that was potentially where they were going with originally, where the log showed that Ted started out on board with the plan, but then he gradually lost his mind. I mean, being responsible for the deaths of billions of people would definitely cause some serious stress. And so after Elizabeth died, no one was around to keep him in check. He completely snaps, and then he decides to delete everything and kill all the alphas.
oh yeah, I guess that makes more sense if you're responsible for like basically the loss of the entire human race. But it's funny that like Elizabeth had to basically babysit him kind of through that. But it makes sense that she's gone now. He has to kind of fend for himself and make it right in this world that he's created for himself.
Yeah, or at least make it right the way he sees it.
Right, yeah.
Special thanks to Hideo Kojima, that's interesting. He's the guy who's famous for Metal Gear Solid series.
Oh, wow.
It's just a little weird.
He had some weird inspiration in this.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, early on, when Ted realized he made a big mistake and he was talking with Elizabeth about it, then I guess the deal was contingent upon they don't know that it was Pharaoh's mistakes.
Right.
Or his end of the agreement is that there's gorilla babies. That's kind of cool. They were all born during the production of the game, the development of the game. But it sucks for them to be named Gorilla Babies, because the name of the company is Gorilla. But yeah, so the agreement was made such that Ted would not be blamed for it,
right,
while he foots the bill for the resurrection program of Gaia.
Right. Huh. Yeah, everything is, for the most part, the story was pretty good until you got to those main plot twist points. And then it got a little strange.
Yeah, aside from a few points where you have to go a little overboard on suspension of disbelief, they had a really good attention to detail on most things. Okay, so let's talk about the characters then. Yeah, I really like the character of Silence.
Yeah, me too. He seems, he did really well, I think.
Oh, Helis was Crispin Freeman. He wasn't Troy Baker. That's another... Crispin Freeman's another famous voice actor, though. He's done a lot of anime and games. So, John Gonzalez was Hades. Don't know that guy at all.
No,
Maybe he's hardcore.
Sounds like a demon.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was him or how much of that was the audio effects.
Right, yeah.
But it was a really cool sounding effect.
Yeah, it does. It sounds really synthetic. But I think they did a pretty good job with the whole futuristic aspect of that.
Yeah, a lot of the characters were cool. Ross was cool. I liked his backstory when we finally got to learn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of those characters were portrayed really well. Tirsa, Varl, Aaron, most of the supporting characters, they all had believable personalities. Honestly, though, I just wasn't that big of a fan of Aloy. I mean, I really liked that she was strong-willed and resourceful, but she was a bit inconsistent and hypocritical sometimes the way they wrote her character. It wasn't every scene or anything, but just once in a while. Like, she had zero sympathy for the Nora religion to the point where she openly disrespected it. She kind of snickered at them and laughed under her breath during a few scenes where she's like, ah, moron.
Yeah.
But she kind of mocked them for being illogical or overly emotional, but then she was acting illogical and overly emotional when they were exploring the interior of Allmother, the Eleuthia facility, and she was, for some reason, hoping to find an actual human birth mother waiting inside for her.
Right. Yeah, I was just about to mention that before you brought that up, but that part when Silence was even telling her, it's like, no, what were you expecting? Both of us knew going into this that there wasn't actually going to be this mother actually birthing people or like this society inside that survived, because that's what Aloy really seemed like she wanted. But in the beginning, it just seemed like she knew already, but as she learned more, the more she hoped for something that was obviously not going to happen. So it was definitely a bit inconsistent in that front. I agree with you there. I was a fan of Aloy, except for those parts, like the parts where she was kind of driving other people to believe in other things, or at least to not worship her, because there were some parts where she was doing that. And I did like her on that front, and her ability to kind of see through what was like the current political times or things that didn't seem logical, and she would kind of go her own route and find her own answers. I feel like that kind of plays into her headstrong character, and she was definitely one of the stronger characters that they had in this series. So I like her for that reason.
Unlike Ted. I hope Ted does not come back in the future.
Oh, God.
I mean, I really like Ted as a villain originally. He's very realistic, and he's not actually evil. He's just an incredibly arrogant kind of person who's put in a position of power.
Right.
And he's making a ton of decisions about technology that he doesn't fully understand. Well, it's very believable.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like everyone's boss is like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the ins and outs of how this works, but you do that, and brrr. And like sometimes those decisions turn out to be horrible. Okay, Ted's arrogance. He makes bad calls in a robotics corporation that turns out to be making advanced military robots, and then that could potentially cause the end of the world. That's fine, totally realistic. But then if you bring him back and have him be a potential threat to wiping out all of civilization twice, that's ridiculous. Leave him dead. He doesn't have to come back and be the super Saturday morning cartoon villain that's responsible for everything that has ever gone wrong ever. Ted's the one who comes back and kills the Alpha. Ted's the one who kills the Apollo program. You don't need Ted to be responsible for every bad thing ever in the history of mankind. It's like, somebody farted in the East Indies. God damn it, Ted. Up to your old tricks again, I see. Hopefully they're not going to rely on constantly bringing Ted back. I mean, as satisfying as it would be to punch him in the face if there's some sort of reincarnation of Ted, like basically Aloy's the reincarnation of Elizabeth Sobek, because they had those logs that talked about the light keeper or lighthouse keeper, something like that, where like, we've got the genetic material of the Alphas. We can basically clone you guys if we want to. So hopefully, please, Guerrilla Games programmers who are never going to watch this video, don't bring Ted back, please.
It's time to make way for some new and exciting villains, I think.
That's true. There is a little bit of potential in the Horus units. Like, we never saw a Metal Devil alive in this game.
Yeah, that's true.
And those were the ones that could create tons of other machines, so just one of those being alive could threaten all of Nora-type civilization.
That's very true. All it takes is one, really, and you've wiped out the entire civilizations.
Oh, and we never did find out, did they ever go into why exactly the problem existed in the first place? Like, they showed that Ted shut down Apollo. But we never saw what caused Hades to attack Gaia in the first place.
Yeah, we never really saw anything. In terms of the Hades thing, it said it was like a weird miscalculation or malfunction that took place in a couple milliseconds, but that gave Hades enough reason to turn into effect. But Gaia saw it differently and just blew up the entire thing for it. We don't know what that misfunction was or what
caused it
like
in the
that.
first place. Was it intentional or was it not?
Yeah.
I was thinking it was the Travis guy because he seemed like
someone that would do that.
At one point, besides just liking the concept of chaos, at one point he was like, isn't it natural selection for all of the people to be wiped out? Travis should have been dead, so if it was him, it was something he programmed instead of something he did personally.
Everything would have had to been made and set to just lay in the code and wait until either a certain time or a certain variable was changed or something like that in order to switch on that block of code and like ruin everything.
And Hades is like, hey, there's a problem, and when there's a problem, I kill everything.
Exactly.
Thanks, Travis. Way to program evil Hades.
I knew I was a great software programmer.
Travis Tate and Travis Day, ready for the apocalypse.
Already working on a beta version.
That's that Deathbringer file I saw you carrying the other day.
Well, Rob, those are private.
But there were a few plot holes, but overall the story had great attention to detail. I mean, they answered a lot of what-ifs that other stories don't even usually cover. They go into a lot of scenarios in this whole creating the setting and the backdrop of why is this the only solution? Why is Zero Dawn the only thing that will work? In a lot of stories, they'll just force feed it to you like, no, it is. That's the only thing. And then you're kind of like, okay, time for suspension of disbelief. You have to go along with it. But in this case, they did say, okay, well, what about fallout shelters? Can't people survive that way? They're like, no, the logs show, okay, the people can survive in the shelters, but they can't re-emerge onto a habitable planet because the machines are going to destroy the biosphere.
Right.
They covered that. Then they cover a bunch of things. They're like, oh, what about, can we nuke the machine army? No, they covered it. What about the colony ship? They covered it. What about deactivation? No, they covered it. Sorry, it will take half a century to brute force the deactivation.
Right.
So they actually paid a lot of good attention to detail. So I was really impressed with that aspect of it.
Yeah, I definitely liked the story. The storyline itself was pretty original. I really liked that. Like a robot army seems kind of cliche in a way, where someone creates something but it gets out of hand and then their AI wipes out the human race or whatever. But I think they did it in a really creative way, in like it feeding off of biological material, and that biological material will like be wiped out, and they have to find this very intricate solution for the problem. And just the way they handled it entirely, I think, was really original, and they did a really good job at that. So I really liked the game for that aspect of it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and like we said before, the graphics were absolutely amazing, top of the line. And the setting was really well done also. Like the way they depicted the post-apocalyptic human civilization, all of the different tribes that were growing up kind of separately and warring and having all of these. It was really realistically done, I thought. Like humans returned to worshiping the sun.
Right, yeah.
That made a lot of sense because so many civilizations throughout history, like they did end up worshiping the sun, Egyptians. And anyway, so I really liked the concept of here's how a bunch of separate tribes would interact.
Right. Based on their geography, like where they were actually put out into the world, you could see different aspects like actually having impact on their life and them worshiping different parts of different things. They kind of took a page from human history, which I really like in the way that they kind of reference what once was is once again happening in just different geography.
Yeah, I really like your point about they're taking a page out of human history. The developers definitely were intentionally doing that. You could tell where you've got like gladiatorial arenas basically in the Sundom, and with All Mother you've got just civilizations building entire religions around concepts they just simply don't understand. Like,
right.
Oh, okay, that must be a god that's responsible for that. With the door of All Mother, or at some point the Nora people went inside the door and the thing scanned them and was like, access denied. And they're like, oh my god, this is amazing. Yeah. And so they put up all these shrines and candles and start worshiping it.
Yeah, I thought they did a really good job with basically just recreating the human race, but with a modern twist, with there being mechanical robots all around and all that kind of stuff, and they're like killing these things as trophies, or it's basically like human history but with monsters in it.
Oh yeah, and the music was pretty well done too, I thought. The ending was suitably epic, and the fighting music that is done in different ways in different places, where they blend that tribal style with the machine type techno style.
Right.
I thought that was just really well done. We commented on that early on, but throughout the game they kept that kind of theme going, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought really good soundtrack, and they do have a lot of different scenarios to cover, in there being just different environments and all that kind of stuff. But I think they meshed it really well, and they kind of kept every environment pretty like fresh and with their new style of music everywhere you go.
I guess I should just hit the skip button.
I guess so. You can see what happens. Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I feel bad for all those people who did so much work.
F them.
Oh, here we go. End scene. We left the spear in there?
No, I think you would need that.
Hello, old friend. Remember me? We've still so much to discuss. So much you never revealed. Your masters, for example. The ones who sent the signal that woke you. Knowledge has its rewards, don't you think? Well, let's begin.
Aha, so there we go.
Found it.
Set up for the sequel with
Yeah.
Silence and the Metal Devil.
Well, I guess we found it, yeah. So Hades is still a thing. That sucks. But I didn't see that coming, though, with Silence.
Don't really know what his end objective is.
Yeah, I guess... I mean, it doesn't make sense that he wants to acquire all the knowledge in the world and he'll give him whatever he wants to do it. Because the world's going to end, and then what's the point? It's like, yeah, you know calculus, but you're still going to die just like the next person. Like, you can
Right.
calculate
Well,
how fast you're going to die.
Now, I don't think he's going to let Hades do anything anymore. Or at least
Maybe.
his objective is to keep Hades in his fishbowl.
Right. He's just going to let him look at the Metal Devil and be like, this could be yours if you tell me XYZ.
Well, I think Silence wants it to be his. Like, what is Silence going to do with the Metal Devil? We don't know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what does he
exactly.
want?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what his end game is.
If you have the knowledge, he's more than just seeking knowledge now. Maybe he's seeking power. I mean, with a Metal Devil, he can take over the world.
Right. Yeah,
But-
that's very true.
If that's what he wants. Oh, thank you, game.
Oh, thanks,
Did
friend.
we do that? We promoted the dream? Oh, protected the dream. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thanks for playing. Okay.
Hooray!
Cool.
Aloy's free to roam.
Oh, that's a good feeling.
Hey, we got quest rewards for a quest we didn't complete in the future. But we did use all our potions up that we used in the future. What are you shaking your head up there? Something
What
crazy
the
up
heck?
there?
What is that?
Well, everyone, that's going to do it for this game.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. We're all pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool after scene with
Yeah.
Silence. What does he want? If he wants knowledge, he doesn't need the Metal Devil. If he wants power, he can use the Metal Devil. Or the Horus class, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But what's the goal? I mean, just take over the world? You could do that, I guess.
I mean, it's a possibility, but
Have your own kingdom? It just seems like neither of those are things that he particularly needs, but
Right.
maybe he just wants the power.
maybe.
Wants servants and wealth and fame, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, yeah, it never seemed like that was something he cared about much, but...
Yeah, they always presented it as knowledge with his
Right.
backstory. but
Right, yeah.
We'll have to see in the next game. Speaking of next game, if there's any other games you want us to play, please let us know.
Oh, yeah, definitely leave it in the comments or whatnot, and we'll try and give it a shot. We play pretty much anything, as you can see from the catalog, so no game is too weird.
Yeah, we're open to most genres, so
Yep.
just let us know anything you're interested in. And we will see you in the next game.
All
Also,
right.
let us know what you thought of this game.
Right.
If you know games, I mean, look at that scenery. If you know games with awesome graphics like this one, or awesome environments even better than this, then let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you thought that Ted is the best character ever.
Just state your case. We'll be sure to call the police. All right. I guess we'll see you guys in the next one.
Take it easy, everyone.
See ya.